What's going on, people? It's the Bear here once again. So I just want to talk a minute about WrestleMania 33 and The Undertaker losing to Roman Reigns. It was a very, very good match. Spear after spear. Undertaker doing his thing of trying to keep up to Roman Reigns, and Superman punch by, Roman Reigns. It was a lot that was going on in, Undertaker fashion, and the way their matches are set up. In that match kind of fashion, it was basically this one taking this one. You have to repeat it over and over and over again. This one taking this kind of damage. You have to repeat it over and over. You know how Undertaker matches go. So anyway, you know what I'm saying. Undertaker, he puts his jacket, he folds his jacket up, and then puts his hat on top of it. And then he leaves the ring. What that tells me is that he's finally retiring. Let's think about this for a minute. Okay? Undertaker is the only one left before tonight that hasn't retired. The only one left. Goldberg has came back. But as far as the WWE, as far as the WWF originals or whatever the case may be, Undertaker was the only one. Triple H has became the COO of the WWE, you know what I'm saying? So, I mean, if he had a match tonight, but he's not a wrestler, so you can't count Triple H. Who else? He's the only one. That's the only one I could think of. He's the only one. Rock has, gone and made movies. He's a mega superstar. Everybody wants him to do movies and whatnot. He's sticking in Hollywood. He ain't even come with the WrestleMania. And I thought he was going to come tonight. Didn't come, I think he's getting ready for the next, the Fate and Furious movie. I'm pretty sure he's prepared for that and all that. So, yeah. Roman Reigns won, which can only be described as old school versus new school. Okay? When you have a person that doesn't have all the energy, now respect to Undertaker all the way. I'm not talking about the Undertaker in no type of way. The man is in legendary status. Okay? I'm not talking about the Undertaker. But I have to say this. When you going against somebody as young and healthy and full of energy like Roman Reigns, I'm not a fanboy or anything like that. I'm just saying, against somebody like The Undertaker, who only shows up at WrestleMania because he can't wrestle anymore. He really can't. I think Undertaker is up there in his 50s or something. I don't know for sure, but he's up there in age. And he can't take it like he used to, I mean, back when he first came out, the man was, he was just as young as Roman Reigns. He was healthy, he had full energy, he had all that. He can't even do the moves. His moves is all lame now and stuff. I'm sorry, I know some wrestling fans is going to take offense to what I say, but you got to hear me out, I mean, Undertaker's just not himself no more. He's just not that type of person. You know what I'm saying? So it was best tonight to go 23-2 and lose to somebody like Roman Reigns and leave it alone. Don't come back and try to have a redemption match. Just leave it alone. You put your jacket and your hat in the ring. You left it there. Okay? Leave it there. And don't come back. You know what I'm saying? Because Undertaker just don't have it no more. He just don't. You'll be killing yourself trying to keep doing this, when you just don't have it. I mean, I'm sorry. I just have to say that because The Undertaker, as good as he was, you know, I mean, he's beaten some of the best in the WWE, but he was the only one left of the original WWF that did not retire yet. You know, Randy Orton's been in the game for a minute, but he hasn't been in the game as long as Undertaker has. It's been over 2 decades. You know, with the countless Raw and SmackDown matches that he had, you know, and then when he stopped doing Raw and SmackDown, you know, the what you call that? The premiere, what you call that? You know, primetime shows. You know what I'm saying? When he stopped doing that and only showing up once a year, it was just, Undertaker just was like, he was beating himself up, just trying to prove something. Like, Undertaker, you got nothing to prove. Your legendary status. You're there with Goldberg, even though you've been in the ring longer than Goldberg, because he came in like 97 or 96 or something like that. You've been in the ring since the early 90s. You know? So Undertaker retiring is the best thing to do. Leave your hat and your jacket in the ring. Don't pick it up. Let it hang on a frame somewhere and put in a museum, you know, with all the rest of the Hall of Famers. You know what I'm saying? So, okay, so let me read this here for a minute. After a whole lot of talk about whether the Brock Lesnar versus Goldberg Universal title, which was a pretty good match too, you know, even though Brock Lesnar won, I mean, I seen it coming. I mean, I already knew that was going to happen. Or Randy Orton versus Bray Wyatt. You know, I don't want to spoil it, but you should know who won that match. Well, headline WrestleMania 33, it took The Undertaker versus Roman Reigns that went on last tonight, Sunday, April 2nd, 2017 at Camping World Stadium in Orlando, Florida. And Jim Ross made his return to call it, which was good to see Jim Ross, good old JR and the Oklahoma Sooners. You know, it was good to see him, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, he did his thing. He called a good match, too. Before they got started, while Reigns, and Jim Ross with his barbecue sauce. Yeah, I just wanted to point that out there. Before they got started, while Reigns was making his entrance, they announced it would be a no-holds-barred match. They worked a match in line with that. That included Reigns taking a chokeslam on one announce table that wouldn't break. It didn't break, actually. It didn't break. Weird. I guess it happens like that sometimes, you know. Yeah. Undertaker set up to move another and ended up getting speared through it. They argued throughout the match about whose yard it is, such as Reigns up on the turnbuckle, screaming in the dead man's face and getting hit with the last ride for his troubles. Reigns kicked out of the first tombstone. You know, like I said, it happens. You go over and over again, you know, this one doing this move, that one doing that move, and, you know, they both kicking out of the pin. So, yeah. They ran to a hiccup when Reigns tried to reversal, and during the course of lifting Undertaker up, he dropped him. This is kind of spoiler if you think it right here when you read this. But, you know, it's only for this match, so I guess you could spoil it a little bit. They tried again with Undertaker throwing himself up, and Roman still couldn't get up. So they had to call an audible and go to a Superman punch, which was a lot of Superman punches that happened. A lot of Superman punches, a lot of spears and Superman punches. It looked ugly. Okay, he hit a spear shortly after, but when Reigns went up on him, he locked in Hell's Gate. Now, that's a kind of move that nobody wants to get in. That's one of them UFC moves. And it's, if you don't get yourself out of that, you can easily pass out. You know, if you done it right. You know what I'm saying? I've seen it done a lot of times on UFC. So, yeah. Even that didn't look so good, and they had to transition into an armbar of sorts before Reigns awkwardly made the ropes to break the hold. Undertaker attempted to grab a chair, but Reigns put his foot on it and shook his head while the Phenom looked up in despair. Roman hit him with shot after shot, imploring the legend to stay down. He would not. That's just how Undertaker matches go. When he did get back up, another spear and another kick out. Reigns came back with another spear, and Undertaker kicked out again. Reigns came back again, this time with a Superman punch. He did not attempt the pin. Instead, he stood back and shook his head, knowing Undertaker would sit up once more. But when he tried, his body failed him, at least at first. When he did, Reigns slapped his head around a bit and said, "I told you to stay down." Undertaker responded by saying something along the lines of, "You don't have the balls to keep me down." And that led to one final thunderous spear. And that was it. 1, 2, 3. Undertaker lost at WrestleMania for a second time. Is this the end? I believe it to be the end because, like I said, you know, he put his hat and his jacket in the ring. He left it there. Undertaker could go out with a 23-2 win, record. He can retire with that and be proud of it. You win against Roman Reigns, one of the best in the business. One of the top dogs in the business. Even though a lot of people don't like him, you got to give the man props. Roman Reigns is one of the best in the business. Hands down. You know what I'm saying? He's beaten some of the best. He's lost a few times, but he's beaten some of the best. So, the best way for Undertaker to retire is to do one more match and do it with Roman Reigns. You did it with Brock Lesnar, you did it with everybody else. That was the best way to go, and to do it with Roman Reigns. So, yeah, he went out. Undertaker went out the way it was supposed to be. Now, Undertaker, leave it alone. Kane retired. It was time for you to retire. So, yeah. It was a good WrestleMania. It was really good. I can't even tell you what was the best match, but it was a really good WrestleMania. And for those of y'all that haven't seen it, if you have a Roku, if you have a PlayStation 4, an Xbox One, if you have a Amazon Fire or anything like that, you can get the WWE, and I'm not like doing any announcing it, but you can get the WWE Network for only $10. If you haven't subscribed yet, you can get the whole WWE Network for 30 days for free. If you haven't subscribed yet. So try it out, You can get the replay of WrestleMania and see it all for yourself. You know what I'm saying? So I would suggest doing that for those who haven't done it yet. It was a really, really fantastic, one of the best WrestleManias of all time. Top 5 to me. You know what I'm saying? It was really good. To me, this is my opinion. So, all right, y'all. This is the Bear, and I'm out. Peace.